So we're here on Strava, and I'm going to be analyzing my summer training program, basically the last 10 weeks of what I've done as far as running and cycling goes and cross training. So previously I had a iliopsoas tendonitis in the left hip, and that pretty much limited me for 2 months out of training, off and on, and just through March and April and May, half of May. So I started back up the second week, or was this May 14th, so the end of the second week in May. I did 3 hours of cycling, just casual wattage. It's just 100 watts, nothing hard. 85 watts for an hour and 13 minutes, and then 180 watts, 188 watts, even that's pretty low. But then the following week, we just basically played it conservatively as far as running goes, only ran 39 minutes. 7 hours of cycling, which is pretty low for me. A lot of commutes just up to the ranch. It's one of the best places in Ohio, I reckon, to train. Lots of hills, lots of flats as well. Just beautiful scenery, dirt roads, not a lot of pavement down there. And these are some steep climbs too. If we go here, run up to the clubhouse, CH. This doesn't look very steep, but if we go to the segment, Rocky Fort Ranch Resort climb, we have 11% for 0.3 miles. It's like 600, 700 meters or whatever. And it is pretty steep, especially at the end, 15, 20%. And there's some even hills that are steeper than that. And climbs 212 feet in one go. Leaderboard here, I've done this climb how many times? 13 times. That's the beauty of Strava. You can track your progress every single time you do a segment. That's why you need to create segments on every single workout that you do, or most of them at least, just so you can track your progress and see if you're getting better or not, and see if you have to adjust your training to accommodate. But yeah, 13 times. Course record, what is that? 7:07 pace, 2:43 up there. Yeah. So let's go back to training log. Just a heads up, this is probably going to be a longer video at least. So we're here. Last week we did 39 minutes of running with some other hills in there. The steeper the hill, I'm not going to go over there. If you're interested, you can click on them. It's the clubhouse climb behind the campground, very steep, 15% gradient. Now, last day of school the next week, did school's outrun. Wattages, as you can see, are picking up. We're 166 watts for 2 hours almost. Lots of climbing too, 3,500 feet almost. Then I took a rest day. It's probably working that day. And then this is the week that I really started getting back into running. So it took about 5 weeks off from that injury. And if you don't know right now, I'm battling with another injury I'll go into later detail on this video, in this video I'm going to be sharing my thoughts on training philosophy and things I do and why I do them. So yeah, I did some doubles in here. 3.6 miles in the morning at 6:45, and then at 12 hours later in the afternoon, did 4.6 miles. And then I did 5 miles the following day on my birthday, believe it or not. Then we went to a 2 hours ride. Pretty decent wattage, 150 watts. It's not all out, but pretty good. Just endurance wattage for me. And then this is the weekend that I really started to push the envelope. I did 7.7 miles. This is at the ranch. This is one of the best places in Ohio. Lots of climbing. 7 miles, 1,100 feet, and some shakeouts. And then 3.6 miles. Look at this climb. It's 1,600 feet for 11 miles. That's like an average of 3% gradient for the entire run. And the following week, lots of volume. That's one of my big things. There's a reason why marathoners and even not even marathoners, 5K runners, professional 5K runners, Mo Farah, Galen Rupp, whoever, any world record holder who's on the gear, they're training for 15, 20-hour weeks, especially ultra marathon runners. But there's a reason these guys who are only racing for 3 to 6 miles, 5 or 10K or whatever, but they're training 120, 130, 140 miles a week. And it just goes to show you that you have to put a large base on, a big volume. The bigger the base, the higher the peak is my philosophy. And the pace doesn't really matter too much. I do believe there's a range, and I might post a video about my opinion on training pace as far as running goes. I'm not a big expert on cycling, at least, because I'm only a noob. I've only been cycling for about 3 months, but 1,000 miles this year. But yeah, my focus was pretty much running, but I do like cycling a lot. It's just a way to spin the legs out. This is the last weekend in May. We're doing easy doubles and just pretty much just base kilometers, base miles, base building here. Lots of hills. I'm a huge proponent of running hills, even on easy days. Get as much elevation as you can. There's a time and place for that, and I don't know. I'm not an expert by any means. And the more I get into this sport, I'm a student of the sport. I like learning a lot about myself and training and all that fun stuff. But there really is no right way or wrong way. There's a better way and there's a worse way. But either way, I think it all comes down to how much time you spend on your feet, how much volume you get without getting injured. That's the big part. And it's hard to avoid sometimes with running since it's high impact. Lots of damage on the cellular level and the muscles. That's why I like cycling. You can go all day, no injuries whatsoever, unless you crash and break your collarbone. But that's very rare if you're not racing. So yeah, doubles in this last week of May. This is when I really started to pick it up. This is probably 5-6 weeks, and then I got normal. I did the Serpentine Trail in Ogobe, lots of climbing, 1,500 feet. 1,500 feet at this 18-mile long run, 740, 754. Let's click on that. Easy ride the day before. Hopefully the internet is still going. Looks like, oh, here we go. Gertie's Point Road, this is what I did. Turn the pace off, irrelevant. But yeah, lots of climbing, different elevation. Maintain a pretty easy pace for me, 1,500 feet, but it was just way too hot. Show my pictures, I'm not going to show that here. But yeah, here's the gap. Great adjusted pace. I'm going to do a video about that. So, in hindsight, basically, a 7:28 mile for this mile 6 really felt like a 6:24, but you only stretched your body at that pace, but you're getting the benefit of training at that pace. So, where are we? Last week in June, here we were, easy ride. And the next week I did 11 hours, still quite a lot of volume for me. We have lunch run, 7 miles, 4 miles. I'm in the empirical system. I'm usually in the metric system, but not a lot of people know the metric system. More people know the metric system about in America, where most of my viewers are coming from. GCMP, GPT, I need to change that. Lots of climbing here, double. I did 15 miles on that day. And I don't really have a schedule, and I don't really like having a schedule to follow. I just like going running, but that might be the cause of my injury, not just doing too much too soon. That's the problem with a vegan diet, is you're just so motivated, you feel so good that you can just bang it out and bang out any mileage you want. You can do 100 miles in a week, but it's going to catch up to you, and you're going to get an overuse injury like I did. Spinning, lots of climbing. That was a hard day. 2 hours on the bike. Brook Hills, did lots of miles. And this is the biggest week I've ever done. 81 miles in a week. It entails 10 miles, 1,400 feet of climbing. Very hilly. Just doubles, pretty much doubles every single day except for on the weekends. Still 11 miles, 1,200 feet, lots of hills. I was feeling good that week. 12 hours, 11 hours of running, just a couple cycles, two spins at low wattages, just commuting places, and got on the bike the next week. This is where it get interesting. We have 9 miles, no doubles this week just because I was on time constraints. Lots of hills still. 800 to 900 feet per, and this is where I got the injury, I think. After this little 4-mile tempo, a threshold. right after that, right after I finished this, I got a very small tweak in the right hip, and it's lasted for almost a month. This is what, a month, 5 weeks ago, so I'm gonna have to take some more time off, unfortunately. I won't lose much, I swear. Out and back, 2 miles up, 2 miles back. Casual pace, I could hold that for probably 12, 13 miles. Oh, what did I do? Training log, not segment explorer. So yeah, I don't really focus on mileage too much. I just worry about the total volume right here, 10 hours, 11, 12 hours, whatever. And the week after this big 81-mile week, yeah, I already explained this. Did 66 miles on 6 runs, which is like 11 miles per day. And should not have run this 15.2 miles. Just the little tear in the muscle just gets worse and worse and worse, and I need to back it down. And I did some cross training, and this is the week where I took it pretty easy. Did Cherry Hill, and yeah, did Mount Calvary, lots of climbing. 4-hour day in the saddle, lots of spinning. 11-hour week, 9-hour week, no running this week to try to give it a rest. I'm going to have to rest it some more, unfortunately. It's kind of depressing when all you want to do is train, but you got to know when to back it off. And I won't lose much. These physiological changes, that's the only reason that distance runners train, is to get stronger. In order to improve a part of your body, your physiology, you have to stress that part. So if you want to get better at running, you have to run. And by doing more running, you're going to be able to breathe easier because you're producing more red blood cells and more mitochondria. And those changes do not go away soon. Jack Daniels, he's got a very good running talk on this, and they said he biopsied runners after running 100 miles on average a week for a year. Then they took them off that, and they let them rest didn't allow them to run for 3 months, 90 days, and they found that they only lost like 10% of what they had gained in the previous year. So you don't lose a lot. And then tree down, Ruby Park, easy wattages. This is where I thought I was okay. I was in the clear, but nope, it just comes back. You gotta take more time off. Very low week for me. This is the lowest week I've ever done. 4.5 hours. Just run up the hills, airport or whatever, and then go up the hill. I always recover up the hill. Even if it's not a full recovery, like the best you can do, it's just I like to get the heart rate up and get more blood flow in there. And this is last week. Did 12-hour weeks. Did Wellsburg, climbing, a little bit of running, but mostly cycling. Did Spruce Knobs. This was the highlight of the summer. I wanted to do this for the longest time. Oh, it's loading. This is Frontier Internet for you. Don't move to the country. See, I basically tempoed this hill. You have average wattage 240 watts for an hour and 8 minutes. We go to this is the steepest. Oh, here's the redirect. Virus on the computer. But here's the steepest section of the hill right here. 8% for 2.5 miles. And I did that pretty fast. Frontier. It's about 106 watts according to Strava. It might be a little bit higher than that because my weight is only around 145 pounds, I think. I'm probably more like 148 pounds this week, or right now currently. So only a minute off the best time. 9.3 miles an hour, 300 watts. So just cooking. And the whole thing, I did that, or that's the whole thing. Whole thing's right here. Hard HC, that stands for hardest category. Hardest category you can get in cycling. I made the top 10. I did that 257 watts for almost an hour. There we are. So out of 80 riders, I'm number 8. And these two right here are professional riders, full-time riders. This guy rides for Cannondale Drop Pack. He's in the Tour of Poland right now, so he's only 10 minutes above me. He could definitely get faster than that, that's for sure. But yep, professional athlete right there. But yeah, he's on the bike for 20 hours a week. He's racing 122 miles. He's getting some KOMs in Poland right now. This video is not about him. He rode with Ian Boswell, Team Skyrider. He's I don't think he's a GC contender. He's probably just a water bottle holder for Andrew Talansky, whoever he best teammate is or whatever. But yeah, what's his average wattage? 276 average watts, which I have no idea how many watts per kilo that is for his body weight. But Spruce Knobs, I did that in a little over 4 watts per kilo. And according to some charts, that's good enough to be Cat 3, Cat 2 even for an hour. And I could hold that longer if I had some competition. I could probably hold 280 watts, 290 watts for an hour. For me, that's like 5 watts per kilo, which is pretty good stuff considering I've only been cycling for 3 months now. But it's a very dangerous sport, and it comes up to this week right here. I've done almost 6 hours already. Just very slow. A little testing the clipless. Clipless helps so much, you don't even know. And then ran today. Very slow 9-minute mile pace, just tapping it out. And yeah, I'm going to have to take some time off, unfortunately, because I'd rather be... Right now I could run on the injury, and it's probably just going to get progressively worse. It's just the truth of the reality. And I've had this before. I know what it entails. Taking a couple weeks off won't lose much. Breathing's going to be tough as soon as you start back, but it'll be back within a week, and I'd rather be 100%. I'm going to play conservative. No more 81-mile weeks. No more 50-mile. No more 60-mile weeks or whatever. Lots of rest. Got to dial down on the nutrition a little bit. Can't eat the junk food or the highly processed sugar, where most of my calories come from sugar. That's okay if you're that's okay if you're a cyclist where there's not a lot of impact. You don't need to repair as much. But running is just so high impact, and you can get away with eating maybe 25% of your calories as pure, just refined sugar, empty calories. But it's better to have more nutrition in there, more nutrients, more iron, more greens. I haven't been really eating much greens lately, but yeah, here's the training. So we have 3 hours, 7.5 hours, 9.5 hours, 13 hours, 11 hours, 12 hours, 10 hours, 11 hours, 9 hours, 8 hours, 4.5 hours, 12 hours, 6 hours so far. Don't know what else I'm going to do. Probably just going to take running easy for the next few weeks or so. I'd rather be 100% than 75% and risk re-injuring it. I can't even sprint full speed anymore, and the movement is just unbearable. I'm gonna have to deal with it. First world problems. But yeah, if you like these type of videos, give them a thumbs up. If you want to hear some other opinions I have on training, give me a comment in the comments below, and I'll see you soon. Thanks for watching.